welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to show you guys how to make one of my favorite curry dishes, and that's for goat curry. Now goat curry in any Guyanese household is usually made for any special occasion, but really I think it should be made all the time because I love it. So before we get into the whole curry making process, I want to show you guys all of the ingredients we'll be using today. I have some goat meat here that I washed really thoroughly, and I cut off some of the fat from the ends of it. You don't want to cut off too much of the fat because that fat's going to give your curry some flavor. So after I washed out my meat, I seasoned it with some of my green seasoning and some black pepper, and I left it in the fridge overnight. By doing this, you impart some more flavor into the meat, and it makes for a better taste after the curry's done. Then what I have here is I have some garlic and pepper that I've ground up with a little bit of water. This is to make my curry paste. And then I have some duck and goat curry powder. I'm not using the regular curry powder because that one is a little lighter than this duck and goat brand curry powder. So I'm making use of that, some masala, and some of my ground jeera. If you want to know how to patch and grind your own jeera at home, I recently posted a video for that, and I'm going to link it above in this video. I also have a sliced onion, some salt to taste, some scallions that I've cut up to add some flavor to my curry, and some extra green seasoning so I can use while cooking my curry. And I also have some oil. Now that I've gone over my ingredients, let's get into our cooking process. Okay everyone, so the first step in making our goat curry is actually steaming our goat meat. Now the reason that we steam the goat meat is because the goat can sometimes be a little gamey, and what you want this to do is release its own juices and then let all of those juices reduce, because if you let all of these juices cook with the curry, sometimes the curry can taste a little gamey like the goat did. So to take a little of that pungent flavor that the goat meat sometimes has, you want to steam it first and let all of its waters come out and reduce away. So in my pan here, I'm going to put it on a high heat. And I put just about a tablespoon of oil in there because you're not really frying the meat. What you're going to do is let it release all of its water. So you just want a little bit of oil in there to start it off. So I'm going to take all of my meat and I'm going to go ahead and add it in my pan. And you just want to give this a quick stir. And you're going to see immediately at the bottom of the pan, you're going to see water start to release from all of the goat. So I'm going to go ahead and reduce my heat to a medium heat. And I'm going to cover this and let it cook for about 25, maybe 30 minutes, or just until all of the water releases from my goat meat and it dries up. I just took my goat out of my pot here. And what I did was I had the goat covered on a medium heat for about 10 minutes. And then what I did was I removed the cover, gave it a quick stir, and raised the heat to high so all of the water could burn out. Now, in all, it took about 30 minutes for all of the water to release and burn out from my meat here. So I just took it out, and you're going to see at the bottom here, you're going to have a little bit of fat and some bits that was left by this goat here. So you want to leave that in there because that's added flavor to your curry. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add in a little bit of extra oil so I could fry my curry mixture. And then you want to raise it up to a high heat. And now we're going to go ahead and make our curry paste. So what you want to do is you want to get your garlic and your pepper, and you want to add in your masala, your curry powder, and your jeera. You're going to add those three things in, and you want to give that a quick mix while your oil is heating up. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I really like a nice spicy goat curry. So I added in a whole Scotch bonnet pepper here. You can add more, you can add less, depending on how spicy you like it. But to me, a goat curry is supposed to be nice and spicy. And I don't like when my curry is very light. I like when it's nice and dark, especially for meat curries. Because the meat, this is like a very tough type of meat, so it can really take on the flavor of the curry. So my oil looks hot here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to add in my curry mixture now. This part is what we call chunking the curry because it's sizzling with the hot oil. Anytime you sizzle something with hot oil, that's what we call a chunking. You want to give that a stir, and you want to scraping down the top. All of those nice bits that was left by the goat, you're going to get it off the bottom of the pot now. Now raise up your heat to a high heat. Then I also want to add in my onions at this point. Some people fry up the onions before they add in the curry seasoning, but I really just added it at the same time so this way they can cook together. And you just want to let this fry in your oil here for about 5 minutes on a high heat. You want to keep watching it and you want to keep stirring it and keep scraping the bottom of your pot here. And I'm going to let this cook for about 5 minutes and then I'll come back and show you guys what it looks like. I also wanted to mention that at this point I added in a few tablespoons of water just to get some of the brown bits off of the bottom of the pot and to let them fry properly with the curry. And I also want to add in all of my scallions because I want to get the flavor out of them now. I want to add in all of my green seasoning. And I want to go ahead and add in my salt now. Remember, you can add some salt now and then you can always taste it later for more. You don't want to have issues if you put too much salt in your curry. So I'm going to let this fry here on a medium heat. I did reduce my heat because I don't want my curry to burn. And I'm going to show you guys what it looks like after the 5 minutes is up. Okay everyone, it's been about 5 minutes now and my curry is nice and fried up. You're going to notice that it's done when the oil starts to separate from the spice mixture. And it's going to start to catch at the bottom a little. And by catch I mean it's going to start to just stick a little bit. So at this point you want to take your goat meat and you want to add it into your spice mixture. And this is the part where we call you're going to bunjay the goat meat. Basically, you're going to coat it in the spices and fry it in the spices for a little bit. And since we steamed it and let it release its own water in the beginning, we're not going to have to let it cook long in here because it already released all of its water. So there's not much water for it to release now. So I'm going to cook it here for maybe like 5 minutes just so it gets nice and flavorful with all of the curry. And then I'm going to go ahead and add in my water. So I've had my meat bunjaying here for about 8 minutes, or I had it frying in the oil for about 8 minutes here with all my spices. And you want to make sure that you fry it really nice so this way the meat takes on the color of the curry. If you don't let it fry up nicely with the spices, then the meat's going to have a lightish color to it. So I left it for about 8 minutes and you're going to know it's done when you see the oil start to separate again and you're going to see it start to catch again at the bottom. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add in my water. Now you want to add enough water to cover your meat. The reason I'm adding so much water is because you really want this meat to boil. If you feel a piece of the meat's very tough. So you want to boil it for a long time. I'm going to probably leave it on the stove for about an hour here, just until the meat gets really, really nice and soft. If you wanted, you could of course pressure this meat, but I don't have a pressure cooker, so I'm going to go ahead and cook it right in my pot here. So I'm going to cover this and leave it on a medium heat. Let me just lower my heat a little. And you will just want to keep stirring it periodically while it's cooking. And you want to watch it and make sure that the water doesn't dry out too much. If it starts to dry out too much, then you want to go ahead and add in some more. So I'm just going to cover this here and let it cook for about an hour. And then I'm going to check up on it and show you guys what it looks like. Everyone, I've had my goat curry boiling on the stove here for about an hour. And I kept checking on it and stirring it. And the water did reduce, so I had to add a little extra water. And what you want to do after your hour is done is you want to take a piece of the meat and you want to go ahead and mash it against the side of the pot. I know that my meat here is a little hard still, so I'm going to leave it and let it boil for some additional time. So I added the extra water in here. I'm going to cover it and keep it on my medium heat. And then I'm going to show you guys what it looks like when the meat gets soft. And I'll let you guys know how much time it took from start to finish. Alright guys, I just wanted to show you guys we're in the home stretch now. My goat curry just finished. I've been boiling it on the stove for about 2 hours because that's how long it took for my meat to get nice and soft. The time's definitely going to vary for everyone depending on how tough the meat was to begin with or how big your pieces of meat were cut. So it's done now, it's nice and soft. And I've had it boiling on a medium-low heat. And I did have to add water throughout the cooking process because it kept drying up. So you just want to be careful and watch that throughout the cooking process. So I'm going to go ahead and dish this up for you guys to see what it looks like now. So here it is, guys, my finished goat curry. I really hope you guys enjoyed cooking with me in the kitchen today. I also recommend that if you wanted to make this, don't make it when you're in a rush, because you really want to give the goat enough time to really simmer and get nice and soft in that gravy. So my gravy's nice and thick and it's nice and dark, just the way I like it. I absolutely hate watery curry, so I made it nice and thick. And I left some gravy so it could be eaten with some roti, and you can also eat it with rice. I love it when it's eaten with dhal puri roti, and I'll try to get a recipe for that up soon. I will link my roti video up in the video here, because I do have that on my channel already, and if you guys would like to make that with this, go ahead and check that out. So once again, thanks for watching, guys. Please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and leave a comment down below on what you guys would like me to make next.